I wanted to play a clip from State Department spokesperson Matt Miller, who's been running cover for Biden's genocidal policies for a long time now. And this clip, to me, truly proves just how bad faith the Biden administration has been, what liars they have been about real ceasefire, and how much they actually believe they do not believe in ceasefire. Rather, they believe in the complete leveling of Gaza and the extermination of Hamas. I mean, this is the same thing, right? When you say we'll get rid of Hamas and the leveling of Gaza, it's tomato, tomato. We understand how Israel views civilians versus so-called militants. We understand that every time a civilian dies, they call them a militant anyway, or call them a human shield. In other words, they were deserving of that death, on and on and on and on. So I want to play this clip from Matt Miller, which I think, to me, really gives up the game when it comes to what we're talking about with so-called ceasefire. It's long, but take a listen.
So every conflict is different, but if you look at what we continue to engage with Israel about when it comes to Lebanon, is ensuring that they have the ability to attack terrorist targets, terrorist infrastructure, a terrorist organization. But ultimately, we want to see a diplomatic resolution.
Well, was that the case with Rafah, for instance? Not just in Rafah, but
we've never wanted. Hold on, we've never wanted to see a diplomatic resolution with Hamas.
Well, okay. Well, what about the ceasefire?
We wanted to see a ceasefire, but we have always been committed. We have always been committed to the destruction of Hamas. We did want to see a ceasefire, but we have always made clear that we wanted to see a different authority moving forward in governance of Gaza.
Okay, but so for instance, other UN satellite image shows that 66% of Gaza structures have been damaged. And you earlier today said that the U.S. supports the targeting of terrorist infrastructure, not civilian infrastructure. Does the U.S. believe 66% of Gaza's buildings are terrorist infrastructure?
Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Which is why we have been engaged to try to reach a ceasefire to end that conflict, which is why we have been pushing for a ceasefire to months. And I wish that Hamas would come to the table and work with us on a ceasefire. As you heard me saying earlier,
So did you just hear what he said? He said, we don't want to negotiate with Hamas. Hamas is not part of a diplomatic solution. We believe in the destruction and eradication of Hamas. And then Prem Thakker, who's been on the show before, who I think works with Zateo at this point, was like, wait, what? What about a ceasefire? And he's like, oh, well, yeah, we believe in a ceasefire and we want them to come to the table, but we don't believe that they should exist and we think they should be eradicated. What? You can't have it both ways, Matt Miller, and therein lies the rub. This is something that people have been saying for a very long time, and guys, you need to understand just how expulsory, just how revealing it is for Matt Miller to say, we believe in a ceasefire, but not with Hamas. What that means is we believe in a ceasefire only on Israel's terms, and Israel has always been clear, if they've ever been, their version of a ceasefire has not been, okay, we stop the fighting, we stop the bombing, then we negotiate for hostage release, for Palestinian hostage release. There's a withdrawal from Gaza. It's never been that. It's been, when we're done, we're done. We'll tell you when we're done, when we are satisfied that we have obliterated, as Prem says, not just 60% of all buildings in Gaza, but maybe 80%, 90%, 100%. We'll tell you we're done when you see new condos on the Mediterranean signs going up. Like, that's when we believe that there will be a so-called ceasefire. So Matt Miller is giving up the game that Biden has been trying to play now for almost a year. You guys, we are a week out, less than a week out from October 7th, the anniversary of those attacks, right? And the anniversary of something that we all knew would turn into a genocide, and yes, completely on Israel's terms. So again, there's never been a reconfiguration of the term ceasefire to what we on the ground, what the people of Gaza, what the international community, what South Africa's case before the ICJ, what they have been calling for, which is an ending of hostilities now, right now, and yes, negotiating with Hamas. The Biden and the Bibi administration's understanding of ceasefire is you kill them all dead. And if all dead means medics who are zip tied and then summarily executed, then so be it. And not only that, of course, now you have the further expansion of this war, but I want you all to understand he slipped up. He wasn't supposed to say that. You cannot have it both ways. There is no ceasefire if you say that Hamas has to be completely eradicated. Do you understand what I'm saying? And we'll get to this in a little bit, seemed to be a little bit of movement. It was Blinken's last hope in the last week for a possible real ceasefire. It seems like Israel was into it. But then Israel got some Hassan Nasrallah coordinates, the head of Hezbollah, and decided to take that shot. And here we are. So we've been lied to. Either these are the dumbest MFers on the face of the planet, the Biden administration, that cannot get their so-called ally to do anything that would benefit not just them, the region, the world, or they are 100% complicit, not just complicit, gleefully complicit, and this has been their goal all along. That outwardly they'll say ceasefire, but inwardly they mean just the killing and destruction of Hamas, and albeit 40, 50, 60, 100,000 Gazans dead. So which is it? You guys decide. I'm always of the mind that Democrats are much more idiotic than they are Machiavellian, but that's just where I come down on this issue. But either way, there you have it. They've been lying to us. We know they've been lying to us now. Anthony Blinken, thanks to ProPublica, has been lying about the amount of humanitarian aid allowed in. They knew that there was a violation of international law. They knew that that meant the U.S. had to stop sending them weapons in correspondence with not just international law, U.S. law. You cannot sell weapons to countries that withhold humanitarian assistance. And yet they did it. So we've been lied to again and again and again and again. So again, mainstream media will tell you, ceasefire this, ceasefire that. Y'all, when do we stop the charade?
What's going on, Frantifa? If you haven't already, subscribe to this channel right now. Hit that button. And also, you can become a patron and support the show every single week. Get access to bonus episodes and exclusive merchandise. Patreon.com/Bitchuation Room. Do it.